Our morning session will begin now. Before we officially start, I would like to kindly remind you that we have two sessions, two venues. The venue that you are in right now will be talking about China Automotive Import and Export, which is also the 10th Automotive Import and Export Logistics International Conference. Right next door, we have another venue that will talk about automotive logistic services. So if you are interested in both venues, then I suggest you think about how you allocate your time. And also, I would like to remind you, most of the speakers in this venue will be speaking in Chinese. So if you need interpreting headset, feel free to take your business card and go outside to fetch your headset. I would like to welcome you back to today's conference. As I said, it is held by CFLP, and it's the 11th conference that we have held under this topic. In yesterday's conference, a lot of the speakers have mentioned repeatedly issues related to import and export. Today, our focus on the One Belt and One Road initiative is very timely, and also we have invited professionals who are responsible for projects that fall into this area, and they will share with you their experience. In the past 11 years, we are improving our understanding of automotive import and export. When we first started out, we really wanted Chinese domestic brands to have impressive performance in import and export, but we noticed that our import and export is actually quite balanced. Based on what we observed last year and also the year before, we noticed that a lot of joint venture brands are using China as their base for export. And as these joint venture brands supply to overseas, logistics service providers in China are also increasingly using transport by sea and also by railway to export to the US, Europe, and Southeastern Asia. In addition, as China focuses more on the Belt and Road Initiative, automotive products from China, including the finished vehicle and also including automotive parts, are now being exported to Europe through Chengdu and through northeastern China. So today we have a few speakers to share with us what they think. So first of all, without further ado, I would like to welcome to join me an old friend of ours, Mr. Wu Songquan, Director of Policy Research Center of China Automotive Technology and Research Center. Before we talk about logistics, I would like to invite Director Wu to talk about the import and export of China's automotive industry and the future outlook. Welcome. Good morning. It is my great pleasure to come here and attend today's meeting. Today, I would like to share with you the latest update on China's automotive import and export and also China's policies. I will try to finish my presentation within 20 minutes. So first of all, I would like to divide my presentation into two parts. First of all is the latest update on automotive export. I'm sure that you have heard that China's import policy is going through changes, including China's policy for tariff. And also in 2017, the number of the size of export was growing rapidly. So here are some data to share with you. So this is an overview of 2017. So in 2017, a total of 923,000 cars were exported. In our statistics is a little bit less than the customs statistics because we have excluded non-automotive products. So a more accurate number is 923,000, up by 31% year over year. And this graph shows the number of export over the past 15 years. And as you could see that in 2012, we reached a peak before declining and then before the trend took up again last year. If we take a look at the monthly number for last year, we see that export has been growing. Ever since January 2017, we have seen 14 consecutive months of growth year over year. So this shows the value of export for automotive parts. Here, when I talk about parts, I'm talking about the parts defined in the China customs catalog, because there are a lot of parts that do not have independent text registered number. So for those that are registered, the total value is around 98.5 billion US dollars, up by 6.2% year over year. So this is an overview of export and is breakdown of different types of cars. So we see that most of the cars exported are the sedans, and the second largest category is vans or trucks. So a lot of you come from the logistics industry, so I'm sure that you are very interested in through which location these vehicles get exported. Shandong province exports the most car, followed by Anhui province and then Hebei province. So these are mostly provinces where manufacturers are located in. Shandong and Anhui province mainly serves Chery and also Jianghuai Automotive. So these are all major locations where these manufacturers are located in. And in terms of the destination countries, last year we saw rapid growth in export to One Belt One Road countries, especially to Iran. We saw that last year we exported 250,000 cars to this market, up by 60%. And I'm sure that Iran as a market has caught the attention of a lot of companies. And we sent a delegation to Iran with the government. And the second largest destination is Chile, followed by Mexico. And the fourth and the fifth are Vietnam and the US, where we imported over 50,000 cars. Speaking of the US, I'm sure that you're very interested in the so-called trade war. Most of the cars that we exported are mostly Buick, manufactured by SAIC, General and GM. And then the sixth is Peru, followed by Russia. Most of the countries on this list are countries along the Belt and Road Initiative, but there are also some countries that are not. If we take a look at the breakdown by OEM, as you could see, most of the companies that export are Chinese-owned OEMs. So the number one exporter is SAIC, SAIC, followed by Chery, BAIC, Jianghuai, and then Brilliance. And then Dongfeng, Chang'an, FAW, Great Wall have also shown how much they have grown in terms of export. So these are the main exporters of vehicles in China. And in terms of the performance of joint venture, we see also quite impressive growth. So SAIC GM itself has imported over 100,000 vehicles, and the second largest is Honda. Others are much smaller. And I need to point out to you that Dating Volvo is not included in the statistics. If we put all of this together, then in total, this joint venture companies have exported a little less than 130,000 cars. In addition, I want to talk about the export of parts. Most of the parts that we export are to developed countries, Europe, the US, Japan, and South Korea. They account for over 60% of the total export, and the biggest market for Chinese automotive parts is the US. And also, I have prepared a few slides to talk about the Sino-US trade war. So I will not, you can simply read it. I will not go through them sentence by sentence. Guided by the Belt and Road Initiative, Chinese companies are also stepping up their outbound investment according to the statistics of MOFCOM in China. Localized production in overseas market have reached 300,000 to 400,000 vehicles in scale. And this is an overview of Chinese OEMs setting up plants overseas in 2017. I'm sure that we will see more export coming from China. Our forecast is by 2025, maybe there would be over 5 million vehicles exported from China. I think this is very likely. Last year, the NDRC in China has published a policy to relax the restriction on the share of foreign capital.
So, which will make the foreign capitals place more importance in China. And also we noticed that most of the models have their costs lower than being produced overseas. So we have the ability to export all of these models. The restriction is because there's the foreign equity share limit, which made them focus more on Chinese domestic market. So when the limit is lifted, they will focus more on overseas market, export market. So currently it's only 50-50 split between the two parties, so which discourages them to export overseas. We have listed the share of the models are exported as a ratio to the cars manufactured. You can see that the share in China is very, very small compared with other companies. So the major car maker countries are also the major exporters. So one of the reasons was the limitation in equity I've mentioned. Actually, in China, China enjoys a lot of industries which have a capacity that rank top in the world. However, the ratio in China is extremely low, so it's a very unusual phenomenon, which hampers our competitiveness. And now we talk about new energy vehicles. We believe that it can be a new growth driver for the car export in China. In terms of application, in terms of the skill and value chain, China is top of the world. Over the past 5 years, this is the figures for the global volume. In 2017, it was 3.4 million as a world total. But China actually is the absolute number one if you look at all these 10 countries. And also the value chain, China owns more than 50% of the world capacity. So in China, it's over 770,000 vehicles, compared with only less than 200,000 from the US. This attributes to the encouragement from the government. And if you look at the export and also the sales, we can see that 4 companies come from China. BYD just now I saw their representative, BAIC, SAIC. You can see that Tesla, the famous Tesla, ranked 5th. Of course, its retail price is also very hefty. Just now we talked about the innovation chain, value chain, and the skill in China for new energy vehicle being number one in China. And also, the Chinese government already gave a dedicated taxation number to new energy vehicle, and BYD is really going abroad and have lots of investment. So we have a great potential in this area. We also have talked about some of the new policies. I will not read all of them. It covers basically the export and also the establishment of R&D center and manufacturing plants overseas that are all covered in these new policies. So to talk more specifically, first of all, is to improve the qualification of export management, and as well as improve the construction and establishment of export base. So we require the OEMs and the manufacturers to make sure they have certification and validation to the trading companies, and we've limited the number of trading companies they can have. Also, we believe that the acceleration of FTA implementation will help to lower the taxation rate and also the barrier of entry. Due to time constraint, I will not talk deeper. And also, we all know the Belt and Road Initiative being a very important driver for international cooperation and capacity. Last year, we had a collaboration with China Industrial Information Bureau in terms of car export. So they also mentioned that the Belt and Road Initiative will greatly boost the car export. Like we said, because now China and the U.S. is going to a trade war, however, it won't really affect the SAIC, General Motors, Envision, and Daikin Volvo. So if you look at the figures, because most of the cars we export are over 500,000 are not included in the specific taxation numbers that are included in the U.S. Taxation product list given by the U.S. And also, the taxation list only targets the high technology and also high value addedness model parts. So the other kinds of major parts are not covered. So the U.S. is being very smart because if they limit all this importation of the parts, then they will affect their markets well. So we can see this is the importation figures for vehicles. We have achieved 4.3 growth. Because in 2016 there was a 1.07 million, and the figure rose to 1.26 million. And if you look at the models and the types of cars, usually are the sedans and the PHEV and BEV. And if you see the electric vehicle and the hybrid vehicle, the number of importation grow to 25,000. So we can see actually 99% of the cars imported are passenger vehicles. We only had over 10,000 commercial vehicles being imported. So if you look at countries, imported countries, then the top is Germany, and second is Japan, and followed by Korea and US. You are in the logistic industry, so you know this very well because these are your routes of transportation. If you look at the value or the amount of money of the parts imported, then top is Germany, followed by Japan, Korea. This is the table categorized by brand. The BMW tops, top the chart, followed by Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, then Toyota. The fifth is Porsche, then followed by Range Rover and Lincoln and BMW. So actually, BMW is necessarily only comes from Germany. They may come from U.S. as well. And the following chart is the figure for the U.S. Because of the trade war, people naturally pay more attention to the U.S. And you can see that the top models or the top brands imported from the U.S. is BMW, followed by Mercedes-Benz, and Lincoln, Ford, and Tesla. These are the total figures for the vehicles imported to China. So if actually the trade war does not really affect the domestic brands of the U.S., but it affects the German brands. And also the conference organizer asked me to talk a little bit about policies. Actually, the policies over the years have been quite stable. So I would like to talk about the upcoming policies in the next 2 years. So the first is as of the methods that we have the point system. So definitely we want to make sure that the point system for the new energy vehicle be up to the standard. So make sure that the amount of the volume of cars imported has to hit a certain amount for the new energy vehicle, because the exhaust and also the emission amount is much higher for the imported cars. So we have to make sure that we have to secure the amount of the number of new energy vehicles in that. So also we'll cancel the tax favorable policies for the car models with the 1.6 liter and below. So actually, we all participated in the formulation of these policies. The sales and management method will help to break the monopolistic actions by the OEMs to the trading companies and the dealers to balance their powers and also relationship. The fourth is the management requirement for parallel import. So you can see that 14 to 15% of the cars imported are actually parallel imports. So U.S. is the major source for the parallel imports. And the next one is the tax rebate policy adjustment for a new energy vehicle. We made a round of change in 2017. We have toned down some of. We have up some the tax rebates amount for some of the new energy vehicles. We will continue to do that in 2018 and in the years to come. So we have participated actively in the 1, 2, 3, and 5 policy changes. Also, we have studied thoroughly on the taxation policies. We have also worked with MOFCOM to talk about how to modify our parallel import regulation. And we also talked with the local government. So let's first talk about the dual point system. The dual point system will have an impact on the structure or the type of models and also the number of models. So what are the companies that will be affected? Well, this is the list. These are the companies who, whether they are qualified to the point system. The companies colored in red are not qualified in terms of its fuel consumption. So which they will, if the models exceed the fuel consumption limit, then such models will be banned from being imported. And then secondly, if you get a new energy the new energy car vehicle categories, almost all of the companies do not meet the qualification. This is the figure for 2017. We required the percentage limitation or the percentage standard to become 17% in 2018 and 20% in 2019. So the companies must meet this point criteria. And also, you can see most of the companies are colored in red. In 2019, we know that it will be very difficult for the companies to meet the criteria, especially in the new energy vehicles. So I believe that in importation of new energy vehicles, the foreign companies will up their game and putting more effort, making sure that they hit this or they meet this requirement is a way to show their corporate responsibility, social responsibility, and to make sure that their new energy vehicle is really environmentally friendly. This is the current taxation policies. We can see 25% is deducted for the passenger cars and passenger car. For the vans and also the trucks, it's 15 to 25%. When compared with other companies, you can see the U.S. for the Japan is 0%, U.S. is 2.5%. The figure for Canadian is 6.1, 8% for Korea, 10 for EU, and 23.3 for South Africa, so on and so forth. We can see that our taxation is much higher than the developed countries. However, we're still in the mid-range compared with the other developing countries. However, we sold 30 million vehicles, so this figure ranked us in to be more than the sum of the number 2, number 3, number 4 together. Therefore, since we produce and export so many cars, then the taxation policy is too strict. So in the 19th Party Congress report, we understand that the government also have mentioned that they will reduce the taxation. And during the recent Boao forum, President Xi Jinping also said the next step is to relax the 50% foreign equity limit as soon as possible, and to do it as quick as possible, and also to do it as substantially as possible. And we knew actually the National Reform and Development Committee has already released the timeline of lifting this equity limitation and also the adjustment to the taxation. If our 25% taxation rate is reduced to 0 or to 20% or to 0%, then the cost of importation will down by 4% or 20% respectively. For example, which means if we completely remove the tax, then the cost of importation will down by 20%. We know that the fuel tax on the fuel also includes VAT. So the maximum reduction is 20%. So it's 4 percentage point reduction. We have not seen the actual numbers yet. However, it speaks favorable to the importation of the cars. However, because of the trade war, we will increase 25% the taxation for the U.S. imported cars, so 25% plus 25%. So if a car worth $50,000 US, then after the taxation from the customs, then the cost will be increased by 20%, significantly impair the impair the competitiveness of the cars imported from the U.S. However, I don't think the trade war will actually start, so we should pay more attention to the taxation reduction. So last but not least, because I overshot a lot, so I'll just briefly touch on our center. So our center actually assists and being a very top think tank for the Chinese government. We are the core department for the policy studies. We have 47 experts working and providing consultation to the government. And we focus very much on import and export. We have the only three top experts of policy interpretation. So we have a great influence in the industry as a whole. In importation, we have started policies of car export as well, a car import, a One Belt and One Road initiative, and also the studies on WTO. I have always been studying. I had always been studying the policies of WTO, and for the past 20 years, and also we touch upon the taxation and the favorable tax policies to new energy vehicles. If you have any inquiries, please come to us. We'd like to give you, we very much like to help you. So this is my presentation. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to give such presentation. So if you have any questions, we can talk in private. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Wu, for your update. Although Mr. Wu said that he has taken a lot of time, but actually we see that he has prepared a lot, and also there's a lot more that he could have talked in detail that he didn't have time to. So if you find something that you're interested in, feel free to approach Dr. Wu afterwards. It is the second time that we hold this meeting in Chengdu. This is because 2 years ago we felt that Chengdu and Chongqing, this area has already become the most advanced place in terms of automotive manufacturing. So as a very important area for automotive industry in Western China, Longquanyi district is also where a lot of automotive-related companies are located in. So that's why today we have invited Liu Bing, Director of Logistics Administration and Service Bureau of CETDZ, who will share with us their experience in creating an area that specializes in automotive industry. Distinguished Mr. Ma, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Liu Bing. I'm the Director of Logistics, Administration and Service Bureau of CETDZ. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizer, and also I would like to thank Automotive Logistics for your support and your interest in the development of Chengdu Economic Development Zone. And also I would like to thank the organizer for giving me this opportunity to share with you my experience and also to learn from the rest of you. So today I would like to take this opportunity and share about the development of logistics, in particular automotive logistics in Longquanyi district. So Chengdu Economic Development Zone is a national level economic development area. It is also a modern automotive manufacturing base in Sichuan province. In addition, it is the core functional area for Longquan high-end manufacturing. In addition, it is a green smart vehicle industry area in Chengdu, China France Eco Park. Right now, we have two parks of international collaboration. One is China-France Eco Park. The other is China-Germany Smart Connected Vehicle demo base for standard formulation and also for testing. In addition, this district is a very important district to implement Chengdu's strategy for east development, south expansion, west control, north transformation, and central optimization. We are especially important for the part of east development and central optimization. These are a list of OEMs located in my district. In total, we have 12 OEMs, including FAW, Volkswagen, FAW Toyota, DPCA, Volvo, and also we have more than 300 automotive parts manufacturers located in this district. This is an overview of the annual production of automotive as of 2017. So in 2017, we saw growth from 1.116 million in 2016 to 1.287 million in 2017. So in Sichuan province, about 80% of the vehicles were manufactured here, and over 90% of the vehicles in Chengdu were manufactured in our district. In terms of our comprehensive competency in 2017, local GDP exceeded 120 billion RMB. And for 4 consecutive years, we ranked number 1 across the whole province in terms of district level economic competency. And we ranked number 6 in terms of our competency in national automotive industry base. Also, we rank number 8 in national industry top 100 areas. Next, I would like to talk about the development of logistics industry in this area. Longquanyi district in Chengdu always has played the part of logistics hub since ancient time. It is especially important from Chengdu to Chongqing. So from Chengdu to Chongqing, you have to go through Chengdu district. So it goes without saying how significant it is in terms of transportation and logistics. And Longquanyi district has indeed fulfilled this mission in Chengdu. And the development of Chengdu district has relied upon the advantages we enjoy in the automotive industry. So it is especially strong for automotive logistics because our local logistics industry has always been dominated by automotive logistics, and we have seen impressive growth coming from this area. In 2017, the total value of logistics in the whole district reached 370 billion RMB, up by 15.3%. And the added value of logistics industry reached 3.86 billion RMB, up by 16.2%. Now for the Longquan Logistics Center, we have 2 logistics parks planned. One is located in the south part of the economic development zone. The other is in the northern part of the economic development zone. For the north part, we have 5,600 mu planned for the park, and for the north part of the economic development zone, we have 4,400 mu planned. So altogether, we have 2 logistics centers, and the southern logistics center will be trying to solve the logistics problem for when automotive production reached 2 million. So for the southern logistics center, it not only needs to solve the transport and logistics of the 1 million vehicles and parts. In addition, it needs to provide solutions for logistics for the two international collaboration centers. So we not only need to provide solutions for automotive solutions, but also we need to develop commercial logistics as well as cold chain logistics. So that's an overview of our plan for the logistics center. In addition, right now we already have 18 high-end logistics projects inside the center, and 15 have already been completed. And in addition, FAW Logistics, FSL Logistics, Shanghai Changlian, Bao'an, Carry, Vlog are among projects that have already settled in this logistics center. And in Southern Logistics Center, 1.37 million square meters of warehouse has already been completed, and right now we have 748,000 square meters of two-storied ramped warehouse. And in the southern part of the logistics center, we have basically finished the automotive logistics supply chain service system for the 1 million OEM in southern part of the economic development zone. And we have basically completed a comprehensive logistics center for the region. And in addition, we have finished the construction of the highway port. And in addition, we have already used facilities such as joint inspection building, bonded warehouse, and we have already started using them in 2006. So the functions including custom clearance, inspection, bonded warehousing have already been achieved. And in addition to the Qingbaijiang Railway port in northern part of the logistics center, we will have a railway station. So there will be railway that comes directly in. So the DPCA imports its parts from France. So by going through the railway, it can reach our logistic park directly. And in the future, the export of finished vehicle can also utilize this railway station. It goes the same for the Southern Logistics Center. We will have a railway station planned. As I mentioned, Longquanyi district is a very important area for the implementation of Chengdu strategy for east development and central optimization. In terms of the channel for logistics, we have basically three directions. One is eastward to reach Chongqing. So if it is transported using the railway, then we basically have a very smooth connection to the China-Europe railway. And also southward, containers could come through the logistic channel on the south side. So this is the highway surrounding the Chengdu. And there is a new town that is to the east of Longquan Mountain. In the future, there will be a national park in this mountain. In the future, Longquan and Longmen Mountains. In between these two mountains, there is the city of Chengdu. Now, we need to cross over Longquan and we need to establish another new town, Zhou new area, etc. In total, there will be 3 new areas on that side of the mountain. And Longquanyi district lies exactly in proximity to this Longquan mountain. So that means that in Chengdu strategy for east development, Longquanyi district will play a vital part. In terms of our development of automotive logistics, we have basically completed a production-based logistics service system. So parts for DPCA will come from France, and then the parts for Volvo will come from Belgium. We have already established a logistics or supply chain system for these OEMs, and also we have introduced professional automotive logistics service providers, and we are encouraging these logistics service providers to transform to supply chain integrators and to offer extended service to the whole value chain. And this is a photo of the FAW Volkswagen facility, and these are our warehouses. And this is the major production facility for the OEMs. And just now, Director Mr. Wu talked about an overview of the import and export situation of China's automotive industry, and he talked about new energy vehicle. And actually, we already have manufacturers here that are producing new energy vehicle. In the future, they will produce new energy trucks for trunk road transportation. And in particular, they will manufacture buses for airport use. With the support of Chengdu government, our economic development area is focused on creating an ecosystem for logistic industry. And the first thing that we want to do well is the planning, and the second thing is that we want to make sure that everything is connected, and then to develop the logistic industry on top of that. And the fourth area is to develop supply chain and also important infrastructure projects that are related to the logistics industry. And we would like to make sure that industry, academic, and research can fully match. And just before the meeting, I was talking to Mr. Ma about this topic. So, and also, we also welcome the establishment of blockchain base in this region. And this is also a very beautiful area that is very close to nature with a lot of flowers. In terms of important infrastructure, we would like to establish a multimodal transport center. That means from the parking of finished vehicles to the sales of these vehicles to automotive finance, settlement, all of this will be covered in this multi-modal transport center so that we can create an ecosystem for the logistic industry. Another thing we want to set up is inland container multi-modal transport center, because the area that we're in is very close, is at a very central area in Chengdu, and also is central to the strategy of its development. So this can also help us meet the demand for container transport to the east of Longquanyi Mountain. Speaking of the logistic ecosystem, it's very important to improve the logistics environment, which is why we want to promote the standardization, and also we want to publish policies to support the logistic industry, encouraging these companies to innovate and to develop. So that means the logistics industry needs to develop in sync with the manufacturing industry, and also we need to develop in sync with the service industry, with modern agricultural industry. So these are the three converged development or innovative development that we are aiming for. So there are a few opportunities that we have. First of all is the development of new energy vehicle in China, and also the strategy proposed by Chengdu for east development and central expansion optimization, and also One Belt and Road Initiative, Made in China 2025, Internet Plus, Big Data, AI, and also Chengdu's Chengdu Europe Plus strategy. In addition, it is the deep transformation of automotive manufacturing as well as logistics operation. So these are the opportunities that we can tap into. As Director Wu mentioned, there are two part manufacturers, DPCAs. Part come from France, and then Volvo's part come from Belgium. So although Longquanyi's export in volume is not very big, but we are exporting to the U.S. And in the future, their plan is to export 50,000 vehicles to the U.S. In addition, DPCA is exporting produce 4008 and 5008 to Vietnam. And also, we have export going through more countries, and I'm sure that this will also pick up in the future.
我们也向各位领导、各位来宾介绍了我们现在龙泉驿区、经该区。
So just now I've talked about the and next I've talked about the opportunities that we face. Next I will talk about some of the challenges we face. First of all is how to provide one-stop supply chain solutions and comprehensive logistics service. And the second thing is how to improve the integration capabilities of the resources of supply chain, and also to improve the level of operation of the logistics that are up to the international level. So I also look forward to your recommendations and suggestions to help us solve these two obstacles that we are faced with. So I didn't go through the script that I have planned. Just to conclude, I would like to tell you that we will provide even more friendly business environment and even better supporting facilities, and I sincerely welcome you to visit my district and also to invest in this district for win-win results. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So after listening carefully to the development of Longquanyi from Director Liu, we understand that in terms of the important role of and a clear roadmap of Chengdu as a part for the global automotive logistic expansion, we understand that Longquanyi is a new industry. We always wanted to move our side to Longquanyi. However, they have yet to have a comprehensive amenity and facilities for that. But we strongly encourage you to go to the west side of Chengdu if you are interested in how they develop their automotive industries. We understand that a lot of people work in Chengdu in the automotive industry. We know colleagues from Volkswagen and Volvo are here. We encourage more people to go there to take a look. It is one of the fastest growing sectors. So we continue to take a look at the development of Belt and Road Initiative. We have introduced Wang Hongbo and Ruslan to talk about the polish investment and trade aid conditions for the automotive industry.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, conference opportunity, I want to use to share some information about the group of European companies involving in new energy automotive business between China and Europe. Because the location of these companies, Poland, I want to share some key information about Poland to have more understanding about this business. Poland is a big country in the central of the Europe with borders German, Czech Republic, Russian Federation, Ukraine, Belarus, and Lithuania. As I say before, this country is 6 by territory and also 6 by population. Country still using national currency, zloty. They don't switch to the euro like a lot of European countries. And this fact gives a lot of opportunity for growing the business in crisis situation. As you can see from 2009, during 10 years, country showing very high growth, and they make 10 times growing. National unemployment rate in Poland not very high. It's only 8.5%. And what is very important, salary in the country, it's not very high. And this fact gives a lot of opportunity for the development, also automotive business. Also, it's very high educated people involving in automotive business. This also very important fact for development this kind of the business. First company what I want to present you from the group of this Polish company, it's research center from the Warsaw. It's short name of this company PIMOT. It's Automotive Industry Institute, and this institute, leader of the automotive research, development, and also homologation and approvals for the automotive industry since 1972. During these 50 years, this institute showing very quick progress, and today they make approvals for the automotive parts and homologation for the cars for all 27 countries what involving in Euro Union. Also, they have very deep connection with the homologation and certification institute in Russian Federation. And already have several partners within China. PIMOT have approval, governmental approval, and also EU approval for the homologation all kind of the cars from category M to category S. And currently they have a very good equipment testing center. 80% of the all approval tests in the Poland made in this institute. World-class specialists with rich experience working in this institute with very rich history, and institute have currently very modern and perfectly equipped laboratories, what given very good opportunity for homologation and all kind of the European approvals for the automotive parts. This institute part of the Polish automotive group, PGM, and also one of the co-founder this association. And this association only one Polish nationwide association gathering Polish manufacturer of automotive industry. PIMOT, PGM, and one German partners now decided to open a branch in China to help Chinese producer of automotive parts receiving European approvals because approvals what Chinese companies can get from the PMOT will be working not only in the Poland, but like I say before, in all 27 European countries. Also, one very important partner for our group, it's Unimot. Unimot is the largest independent multi-energy group in the Poland, and also it's member of the European group of AVIA. AVIA is the largest independent fuel distribution organization in Europe, private organization in Europe, and this gives big opportunity to use network of Unimot within Poland, and also like member of the AVIA, what located in the Switzerland, using the network in the Europe for development new network for the quick charging station, what will using very for the new energy cars like electrical cars, and we can create this network and link Poland and European Union via AVIA Group. Automotive industry in the Poland, it's very well developed, and in Poland over 1,000 automotive companies, 30% from these automotive companies have foreign capital. For example, in 2014, only export of Polish automotive industry amounted 70 billion Polish zloty. It means around 20 billions American dollars. More of half this company have certification of ISO TS 16949. Like I say before, because level of the salary in Poland not very high, and Poland have very good sources of high educated engineers and workers. Automotive industry growing very quick in the Poland, and as you can see in the Poland, you can find all main worldwide manufacturer of automotive parts like Delphi, Magna. Also in Poland we have 3 assembly plant car makers, Volkswagen, General Motors, and Fiat. Poland is one of the main country, tier 1 and tier 2 supplying for the OE in Germany, England, and Italy. Government Poland make very big support to Polish automotive group, and leader of this group, Mr. Sikorski, have regular meetings with the governmental institute to development new energy car business in the Poland. Because for the Poland, this situation with new energy very important. Polish government makes special roadmap and take several very important government rules about the development new energy in the Poland. Main step of these plans, it's electromobility development, domestic framework for alternative fuels infrastructure development, and low emission transport fund creation. Current in the Poland, 23 million registered vehicles, and 85% of these vehicles passenger vehicles. Poland, one of the biggest country in the Euro Union for producing electrical bus, and the main market for the Polish electrical buses, it's Germany. As you see, Polish government have very ambitious plans for the future, and they planning to have in next 6 years 1 million electrical vehicles on the road in the Poland. But in same situation, Polish government want to have a minimum 30% of this vehicle produced in Poland, like national brand Polish cars. For realization of these plans, Polish government did several governmental rules, and this year Polish government already take the decision about this law. And as you can see from this slide, until 2025, all governmental organizations like ministry, central and governmental administration obligated to have 50% of the car parks electrical cars. Also, a small municipality, what have 50,000 residents, need to have 30% all municipality car also electricals, and 30% of all the buses in the country until 2028 need to be electrical buses. All these facts give very good opportunity for development new energy cars in the Poland, and Poland can be in this situation like entrance in the EU market. And Poland currently doesn't have his own car brands, and this fact gives a lot of opportunity for the foreigner car company to help Poland create new car brand, especially in the new energy vehicles. Currently, we already have some project with our Chinese partners. One of the project, it's SKD, assembly electrical car in Poland. After we will open the branch in China, we want to have EU certification standards laboratory in China to make opportunity, make all kind of homologation and auto parts approvals for Europe here in China without using the facility in the Europe. We have several memorandums of understanding with Chinese producer of the batteries, and we prepared to make assembly line for the EV cars batteries within Polish territory, and also we're planning to assembly charging station in Poland. All these projects make for us extremely important logistic situation between China and Poland, and Helen will share with you current situation with logistic, and this situation also give us a lot of opportunity.
OK， 好，大家早上好。我是那个代表波兰汽车集团成都处代表来参加这次。
Represent the Polish Automotive Group Chengdu representative office. I'd like to share with you some of the logistic projects between Chengdu and Poland. Poland is strategically located in Europe, bordering Ukraine, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, Finland, and also Belarus and Russia. it is a very important country along the Belt and Road, and it has a railway, Chengdu European railways, and we know that most of the 18 railway routes cross Poland, or either cross Poland or destined in Poland. We have seen great investment in the infrastructure such as ports and railway stations. In 2017 and 2027 to 2013, we have seen that over 100 billion euros of grants was put into the infrastructure development. We have seen with the highway established totaling 1,482 kilometers and a fast expressway 1,244 kilometers. And we can see that the number of registered buses increased by 72.5%, and the number of trucks also increased by 72.5%.
After joining the EU, the Polish road transportation system market has been completely liberal, and we see that 56.9% of all the transportation is done through the road, and the transport coming between Western Europe and Russia, and also between Central Asia and Ukraine has played a very important role in the international transport. Next, an overview of the seaport in Poland. In addition to road transportation, Poland has very convenient conditions for sea transport. As of the end of 2016, 110 vessels for far distance have been equipped in Poland, and most of the ports. There are a few major ports in Poland, and also in 2016, cargo throughput reached 64 million tons, and different ports have different focuses in their services. For example, there is the largest oil transit port in Baltic Sea. In terms of the automotive logistics in Poland, in 2017, of the 160,000 cargoes transported by sea from the producers, about 8,000 are reached Poland and are delivered to the distributors. Right now, vehicles exported from China, for example, Volvo, are mainly delivered through railway. Cost of railway transport is much higher than sea transport, but we can save about 3 weeks of time. So this is the new Eurasia land bridge economic corridor. This is based on the railway that connects Western China with Rotterdam in the Netherlands through Kazakhstan, Russia, Belarus, and Poland. In terms of the convenience of the transport, this bridge connects the Pacific Economic Zone with the Europe Economic Area, and it shortens about 3,000 kilometers compared with the North land bridge, and it can save half of the time compared with before. And also, there are railways that go between Chengdu and Poland. For example, this China railway, a China CR railway, China CR Express, takes about 12 days. In addition, Poland has truck road across the Europe. It has a very important strategic position. It is the gateway to Europe. In the Belt and Road framework, Poland is a very important country with advantageous geographical location, and Poland road transport is #1 in the European market, and PKP Cargo is Poland's largest and the second largest EU railway company. In addition, it has acquired the second largest railway company in Czech Republic, AWT. It also has set up their own stations in Czech Republic and has maintained a very good partnership with Chinese companies for many years. Next, I want to talk about the Trans-European Transport Network in Poland. There are some cargo railways that go through Warsaw that continue to Berlin in Germany, but in 2040 there will be other destinations that are covered. For example, go to Hungary and Austria, Slovakia and Czech Republic, and then go on to the south of Germany, Switzerland and France, and then to the west side. Right now it goes to Germany and then Netherlands, Belgium, the UK and Ireland, and then go through Hungary to Denmark and Sweden. In addition, by going through the Baltic Sea, it reaches Lithuania, Latvia and Finland. So Poland is a very important country in Europe in terms of transport. In terms of CR Express, the total distance is about 9,550 kilometers. It takes about 12 days. So this is an introduction of the Europe-Asia transport corridor plan, abbreviated TRA-CECA. It was set up in 1993. It is a transport corridor. Its member states include Turkey, Iran, Turkestan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Romania, and many other countries. Warsaw and many other Polish cities have very convenient transport hubs that can bring you to neighboring countries, or by transiting in Poland, you can transport your goods to other countries. Characteristics of trade between China and Poland. In the past 10 days, the export from Poland to China increased by 257%. Right now, most of the important products exported to China include copper products, mechanical devices, rubber products, etc. Poland is the second largest Central Europe market in Poland, and also Chinese parts are very competitive in Poland, so that presents very good opportunity for part manufacturers in China. Poland is the member of EU, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and Belt and Road Initiative. It has central location in Europe and ready highway and railway cargo infrastructure. It is an internal market of 39 million people, and it has free access to the 500 million consumers in EU and other countries. In addition, China and Polish diplomatic relations have lasted for 67 years through partnership with Poland. Through partnership with China, Poland hopes that more products can be exported to China, and also in the future, we hope that by going through the railways that go back and forth could all be fully loaded. There is endless opportunity presented by the new Silk Road. Poland will always open its door to Chinese companies, whether in logistics, transport, or infrastructure, construction, and investment. We welcome Chinese companies and investors to come to Poland for potential business collaboration. So that's the end of my presentation today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I would like to thank Polish Automotive Group again for sending representatives to our conference, and we could feel that Poland is a very open country that is looking for collaboration, and also Poland offers connection to the EU market. In addition, it is also a very important location along the Belt and Road Initiative proposed by China. So I encourage you to look into this country even more. Next, from the other side of the Belt and Road Initiative, we will have our next speaker from V-FLO Group, Vice General Manager Zheng, who will talk about the Pakistan automotive market, and also who will also talk about the Belt and Road Initiative and the automotive markets in those countries along the road. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Zheng. I'm from V-FLO Group, based in Beijing. Our company helps Chinese companies with cross-border and overseas projects. For automotive companies, you can understand us to be a company that helps domestic brands set up overseas plants and make overseas investments. And for logistics service providers, we can help you with transport further to inland after the cargo has reached the port of your destination country. Today I stand here because I'm very interested in the Belt and Road Initiative. The reason I say it is because most of the business that we do is in countries alongside the Belt and Road Initiative. So the Belt and Road is very important for my company. And if I talk about all of the business we have in those markets, then that is going to take a lot of time. So I would like to use an example, and I would like to talk about a market that we're very familiar with, Pakistan, to talk about how we gain access into markets along the Belt and Road and some of the thinking of my company. In the interest of time, I would like to do it in a casual, less formal way, and I would like to share with you over the past few years some of our experiences that we have gained and also some of the insights we have gained over years of experience in operation in these markets. So I may not stick to this framework because I'm the fourth speaker this morning. So I have a very important job that is not to take away your precious time during the coffee break. But of course, when I come on stage, I realize that it's already past 10:15. So I will try to be brief. So first of all, speaking of countries along the Belt and Road, over the past few years, I have engaged in conversation with logistics service providers and also with other companies. And one question that they often ask me is, why do you want to choose countries along the Belt and Road? Are these markets big enough? Do they have enough purchasing power? Will it pay off to invest in these markets? I think people may have different questions, but based on our understanding of the Belt and Road, we have a different view compared with most of you, because in 2002 we already began to conduct business in those markets. When we made the first batch of investment, we wanted to look for logistics service providers to help us transport these devices to Kuwait, and they didn't want to go because the war just ended, and a lot of companies didn't want to go. We couldn't find suitable partners. Finally, we found a partner that can transport by air, but we realized their plane was not big enough. So we had to take our devices apart, fit them in the airplane, and our engineer had to lie on the top of the device and to travel to Kuwait and then help them assemble these devices and do after-sale service. And that's how we got our first order. We also realized that was a very tough market. So why didn't we come back to China and focus on the Chinese market? If we take a look at the markets along the Belt and Road and compare them with the Chinese market, you may think that the Chinese market is so big, and this market is alone to make everyone well fed. So, in terms of outbound investment, a lot of companies are thinking more about the risk and not about the opportunities. And they don't really trust that environment, that market that much. When we first went out, there was no Belt and Road policy to support us. So everything we did was very difficult. But now, with the support in Belt and Road, the logistic industry has completely changed. So the more west we go, we see more logistic providers that want to help us. And I think this is a key transition for us. So for logistics service industry, Belt and Road has completely changed our way of thinking. Before, the eastern part of China is the starting point for transport. Most of the goods are transported starting from the east. But now, Belt and Road has completely changed that. Before, the western part of China was the destination of the transport, but now they've also become the starting point of the transport. We see that they have set up also their own logistic center, and also they have set up their own freight trade zone. So this is really a very good opportunity. When we choose our target markets, there are a few important principles. The size of the market, we want to see that the local economy is growing. We hope that there is less competition in the target industry, and ideally, we want to see some favorable policy from the local government. If a target market meets all of those, then we will think about actually going there. And speaking of Southern Asia and also Pakistan, there are about 65 countries covered in the Belt and Road. Looks like it's quite a lot, but most of the population is in Southern Asian countries. So, a lot of people say that Southern Asia and Africa are the most important places that are the key to the growth of the future, because in these two regions we see a lot of population, and also in the population the percentage of young people is very high. So because of their demographic structure, they have the potential to disrupt the global economy. India, for example, is a very important emerging economy and also has a lot of population. You may be familiar with a lot of these countries, but you may not be that familiar with Pakistan. In Pakistan, there are 200 million people. It is also a quite sizable market. So yesterday, speakers mentioned that population is closely correlated with the future development of the automotive market, which is why for us, our top priority is to go to a densely populated market. So in this aspect, Pakistan is a perfect fit because there are a lot of young people in Pakistan that are very interested in purchasing cars. However, in Pakistan, the used car market is much bigger, and also this is a market highly dominated by Japanese brands. And Japanese brands have 100% of the sedan market. So if you go on their street, you can only see Japanese cars on the street and nothing else. And our partners in Pakistan are very interesting. They focus on automotive production and also part assembly, and they have a lot of experience in Pakistan, and they have branched out to many different plants and facilities there. And the owner of our partner talked to his father, who is a senior government official in Pakistan. He said, "I'm so young, I made so much money. The world is so big. I'm more successful than you. Look at you, you're so old and you're still struggling in politics." And his father said to him, "Although you have been in this industry for so many years, you're only dealing with Japanese cars. We don't have our own brand and we don't have our own production facility. We're only assembling the parts. We can manufacture the parts, but for key parts, we have to rely on import. Nobody wants to transfer their technology to us, and nobody wants to help us set up our own production industry." And he thinks this is very well said. And then this gave him the idea to invest in his own brand and to start his own brand. But who could he turn to for help? If he turned to companies from developed countries, they would think this market is too small and they would dismiss him. But now China's support to Pakistan is quite remarkable. Although the GDP growth of Pakistan is not as fast as India, because India's economic growth is about 7%. But if we take a look at countries with mid economic growth, Pakistan actually falls into this category, and Pakistan's economic growth is quite good. And then there's another category of countries with low speed economic growth, such as Iran, Egypt, etc. So in terms of GDP growth, Pakistan also presents a lot of potential. More importantly, if we take a look at their attitude towards Chinese people, Chinese business, and Chinese brands, This is why here I have included a ranking of countries' attitude towards China. And this is also very important to the access of Chinese companies into this market. So this is conducted by Pew Research Center. They asked a question: who likes China more? So if it is above one, then that means that country trusts China, and the smaller the number is, the less likely they are to trust China. And if you take a look at here, you will see that Pakistan has very high trust of Chinese people and also Chinese technology. And also they are very interested in Chinese products. It's just that because right now the automotive market has already been dominated by Japanese cars, and also Japanese cars are quite good in terms of quality, in terms of after-sales service. They do have their unique advantages. In Pakistan, they have a lot of management experiences in these assembly plant and also in this production plant. But I think Chinese companies do stand a chance, and there are Chinese companies that have gone into this market. For example, FAW has planned to set up plants there, but they're mainly focusing on commercial vehicle and not so much in passenger vehicle. So for domestic brand, I think this presents a very good opportunity. And this is an overview of the car ownership in Pakistan. This is car ownership per 1,000 people. I'm sure that those in the automotive industry is very familiar with this figure. So in China, the number is 140. In Japan, 591. In Pakistan, it's only 14. Although they have a very large population, car ownership actually is quite small. So that means there is plenty of space to develop. So if you're interested in Pakistan, I think now would be the best timing. The reason I say this is because right now we've got the China-Pakistan economic corridor that is under construction. What it means is that from Xinjiang province, we can go directly to Pakistan.
So we connect in by land, sea, and air. So this expressway carry most of the things are cargoes, not for passengers or family members. So this economic corridor is a demonstrative project for the two countries, so we have to do it right. If this project fails, when China is so close with Pakistan, then it is definitely detrimental to the project outlook of China's cooperation with other countries. It may drag to several years longer. So this is a highly watched of projects around the world. If we can finish this project successfully, then we will definitely open this corridor to the region, and the volume of trade and also transport will definitely multiply. And I will pick one of the more important insights for Pakistan. We can see that actually in 2016 they have a new policies. First of all, to reduce the taxation for the parts imported, and also they will have a more favorable taxation policies for newly invested companies. And also, if these tax reduction or tax rebate are mainly for the parts that cannot be manufactured locally in Pakistan, and also other, more specifically, the plants and also the facilities, the equipment can enjoy taxation tax rebate. And if you can see that there's still room for improvement for the exhaust and environmental protection capacities for the currently available car models, especially the Japanese ones in Pakistan. So that gives the opportunity for the Chinese makers to go in. Well, I'll just skip. I'll skip through the rest of the slides, and I'll briefly talk about our organization. First of all, we have land and capital, the manpower in Pakistan, and we can help to connect you with the government and also rest of the companies. We can help to iron out the issues when it comes to investment, the equity shares. We definitely welcome Chinese domestic brands to come to Pakistan and explore your, expand your market. We know that we have a Chinese domestic brand called Longquanyi, which was established in Shenzhen, which is really unknown in China. However, it is really famous in Africa, a top cell phone brand in terms of sales. This is a very good lesson for the Chinese going abroad. When it was in Africa, it didn't have all the right conditions. If you do a study on this market expansion in Africa, you will find a lot of interesting things. They actually helped. They helped the black people to take selfies at night. This is a very unusual angle of market penetration. A small improvement in localization made them the top one in top one cell phone makers. They didn't talk about CPU performance, or they couldn't stand a chance against Oppo, Huawei, or even other cell phone makers. So locally, they can't compete with these brands, but they changed their way of thinking, and they have just solved a very small problem, which results in a major market opportunity for them. So similarly, Pakistanis want to solve a real realistic problem. They want to buy new cars. However, there are only Japanese brands available to them. They want SUVs because they have a large family members, and they can only buy second-hand ones. And when second-hand ones cannot meet their requirements, they have to do modification themselves. These are the only choice they have. They have a great demand, but they are interested in the Chinese brand. They're interested in the brands which are of a high value, price value ratio, in which Chinese car makers stand a great chance. So if you can meet their demands, then definitely you can have a first mover advantage. If currently that Oppo and Huawei and other cell phone makers want to go to Africa market, however, actually Longquanyi they cannot compete with Longquanyi because Longquanyi has already grasped the strategic advantage they have in the African market, and also they have developed new policies which they can give them a advantage back to the Chinese market. So if you look at this other markets, and of course when we were in Kuwait, nobody thought that we could be successful in the market, and same thing happened to Iraq. However, along the way, we actually made a successful project one after another. These markets were known in comparison with the Chinese market. However, as long as you can find the advantage or you can find the strength in this market, definitely you will succeed. So if your Chinese company would like to have a try in Pakistan and other countries along the Belt and Road, then our organization will definitely help you to heed your concern and to lay the role for you. Also, we welcome companies in Poland and other companies internationally to come to China and establish their facilities. Please come to us. We can help you partner with the Chinese local Chinese local facilities and Chinese local makers. We have over 10 years of experience of international project operation. So whether you are OEM, whether you are a logistics company, please come to us after the meeting. So I'll just skip through all the rest of the content. Hopefully we can have a good time in tea break. We can talk more in tea break. Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction of from Mr. Zhou of V-FLO. Is the one of the pace setters in going abroad. have established many of their facilities and capitals and resources in South Asian countries and also business connections. So if you're interested, please go to them. So that's the end of our first 5B session. So we will have 20 minutes of tea break. Let's come back at 11:10 to continue our rest of the day. Thank you.